Today, we are back with another overrated fighters list. We have 3 fighters today that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you my reasoning and my why about how they're overrated and why they're overrated and what makes them overrated. I'm giving you the what, how, and why. I'm giving you the whole entree, the whole main course of a meal today about these 3 fighters. Also, I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little bit hoarse. I had a great night out Saturday and I got a little bit too loud, but it is what it is at this point. But let's not waste any more time and let's dive into this first fighter off the gate. Now, people already kind of know that this fighter isn't the best. People already kind of unanimously agree that this fighter right here is not good in any sort of way. He's good obviously, but he's not like a top tier guy. Like, he has some holes in his game. People really acknowledge that about him, but I think he's worse than that. I think he's even more ass than when people make him out to be. Therefore, he is more overrated in my opinion, and that is good old Michael Chandler. This guy is pretty much awful, and I like Michael Chandler. I think his promos, I think the way he tries to sell his fights is amazing, and I'll always appreciate that about his game. But dude, this guy has 3 minutes of cardio. Let's be honest here. If you go back and watch any of his fights, bro, he doesn't have much in the tank. He has a good 1-2 and great power and good wrestling as well. But other than that, bro, he's just a walking dead man. He's a walking stick. He's a walking gnome. He isn't anything. He has a good 1-2. They landed on Poirier, they landed on Gaethje. He landed on Oliveira at one point. That's all he has, and just solid power. But once 3 minutes pass in that first round, he's just defensively unaware. He gets really sloppy, and that cardio and that IQ issue just starts to put itself into fruition. He doesn't have that much after the first 3 minutes of the first round. He just gets entirely sloppy, and we know that his IQ is already a major issue in his game. Like, bro, why are you doing spinning windmill kicks against Gaethje in the 3rd round when it's pretty much 1-1? Why are you slamming down Gaethje too? Just go for the takedown. Just get him down on the ground and secure that round for yourself. It'd be easy that way. Why are you slamming down Poirier? Now he has your back, and now you're getting choked out in the 3rd round by Poirier of all people, who has your back and is choking you out. What? Why is Poirier choking you out? You know, that guy has dead man hips. Poirier's hips are not made for grappling. It simply just are. I'm sorry. That's why he struggles so much with it. Poirier's hips are just way too stiff, but he subs you with a rear naked choke in the 3rd round. Are you crazy? Oliveira fight, you dropped him. Stand him back up. You're not going to TKO him on the ground. He's too good. Like, it's one fighter you can't TKO on the ground. You have to submit him. So if you can't submit Oliveira on the ground, like how Islam did, stand him back up and just keep going. I wouldn't mind that. He's defensively has some holes, and if you land a big shot and drop him, he's probably going to go down again. So Chandler's IQ has been his main issue, and his cardio, and he gets really sloppy. Like, his hands always drop. You'll notice it. Like, once he's a bit tired, starts breathing a bit heavy, his hands just drop, and they don't do much after that. He gets so defensively unaware, and I think McGregor might catch him, but that's for a later video that I'll detail more about in the future, because that fight might happen here soon. We don't know, or it might get announced here soon, so we'll be waiting on that one. As much as people shit on the game of Chandler, I still think that it's still overrated. I do. I don't think he's that good at all. And like, the Bellator kind of shows. Him coming from a lower promotion kind of shows. But his wrestling, again, to give Chandler some props here, his wrestling is really good. He has some of the best offensive takedowns, but his jiu-jitsu might not be there. But his double legs, his slams, his wrestling is obviously athletic, and it's real, and it's great wrestling. But he doesn't use it well because his IQ is just not there sometimes, man. It just simply is what it is. So Chandler he has great wrestling, great power in the first round, in the first 3 minutes of it. But after that, he is nothing. He's basically an unranked fighter at that point. He's just a new guy on the block. He can grapple up people if he wants to, like I did with Poirier. But then again, his IQ always seems to fail him at certain moments. So I don't know. And I forgot to mention this, if there was 10 to 15 more seconds left in that first round against Poirier, he's going to sleep. He's going nighty-night, goodbye-bye. He is not waking up. He's going to be TKO'd against the fence or put out cold by Poirier in that first round, but he got saved by the bell and he got lucky. But let's move on to somebody who doesn't really fit in that boat with Chandler, but has some similar issues besides maybe one thing. But this one might be kind of surprising or out of left field. I don't know what your take on this, but Kamaru Usman, I think, was probably one of the most overrated champions of all time. I don't think this guy was really any good. Like, he was good, but he has power, he has physicality, and he has a takedown threat. Not takedowns, a takedown threat. Like, who is he really taking down, bro? Like, who's he really taking down? Woodley? Oh, okay. I mean, Leonard Edwards in the first fight, he was gassed. I mean, like, Colby Covington, Masvidal, yeah, Masvidal. But I mean, old man Masvidal, who was out of his prime, who obviously is a boxer. I mean, like, you're not taking down anybody who has, I don't know, like, it just, yeah, I know, like, Usman does have good grappling offense, and obviously he's a threat, and he puts it in people's minds, and that's why he's so successful with his right hand or his shots on the feet, because people are worried about the takedowns. That's how I landed it on Masvidal. But without that, I mean, the dude's striking, I mean, is it's mediocre at best. It's mediocre at best. He doesn't have very much technique. There's no setup to it. He's just kind of winging shots out there. The double punch at one point he did against somebody. I don't really understand the hype around Kamaru Usman. He was a great champion. Obviously, he's one of the best welterweights of all time, but that to me is kind of surprising. I don't know. I don't think this guy's skill set is anything to be in shock of or to be in awe of. You're not like, oh, this guy's striking is amazing. Oh my God, Kamaru Usman's striking is the best I've ever seen. Now, you're not in shock of his striking. His grappling, you're not like, oh, you know, you're not super impressed by it. His kicking game, his kickboxing, you're not super into it. His jiu-jitsu is probably the weakest part of his game. You're not, what? You're more so impressed by his physicality and his, you know, his power. And he might even be on the sauce, bro. Let's keep it real for a second. He might just be on some trimbolone sandwiches or something like that, because there's some evidence to suggest it, but I'm not going to discredit him for that. But it's just simply, there isn't much to be in awe of by the game of Kamaru Usman. Like, his takedowns, his striking. I mean, dude, like, if your grappling offense is that good, you should be able to implement it against anybody. And he couldn't do it against Gilbert Burns, and he couldn't do it against Colby Covington. And it's just like, John Jones took down DC, right? You know what I mean? If that part of your game is so strong, you should be able to implement it against anybody in the sport or who you're fighting. If you truly have elite level grappling, you should be able to grapple up people who even have good grappling as well. So I don't understand. I mean, I know Tom really has good grappling, but he was at the end of his rope. I mean, it's a bad matchup for him. Masvidal, like, he's a striker. Leon Edwards was gassed, and he couldn't do it in the second fight when he wasn't gassed, not fighting at elevation. And other than that, man, his striking is kickboxing. Everything else is pretty mediocre at best, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the last guy we'll talk about today in this video. Now, this fighter is actually, I think, really good. I think he does deserve some hype and some props. I don't think he's too overrated, in my opinion, but he is overrated because people are selling him a bit too high too soon. And that is Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, Shavkat is good. He's a great win over Jeff Neal. Now, I think he'll be a title challenger at some point in his career. But let's hold our horses just for a second. We're getting a bit too ahead of ourselves. I'm seeing in my comment section, I'm seeing in other people's comment sections that Shavkat's going to be a champion no matter what. And let's just calm down. He beat Jeff Neal, who's a great win. And Jeff Neal beat Luque. But Jeff Neal also lost to Neil Magny. And we saw how Ian Carey pretty much dismantled Neil Magny. Neil Magny is not anything to be happy of. And if you lost to him, it's pretty sad. It's pretty depressing. And Jeff Neal is one of those guys who lost to Neil Magny. So we need to hold our horses a bit and just calm down on the hype train that is Shavkat, and not just give him too much respect too soon. He's good. He's a great prospect, but let's not call him a champion or a future champ already, because we have to be realistic with these guys. If anybody's names ends in V, they're not going to be champion 100% of the time. Let's just keep it how it is. We're not going to see Umar. We're not going to see Evloev. We're not going to see Islam and then Shavkat or Hamza at middleweight. We need to like really break it down first and really look at the matchups and who they're fighting and how good they actually are, and wait till they fight somebody who is, you know, championship level caliber. Then we can rate them about how good they are. Then we can dive in and say, okay, this guy beats the champion. This guy definitely beats this guy. This guy definitely beats that guy. You know, we need to hold our horses and not send Shavkat to the moon so that he can't get back down safely. You have to make sure that he is properly rated. And Shavkat is great, and I think he has potential at welterweight. But we have to stop overhyping these guys who are from the Eastern Hemisphere. We have to start being realistic and be like, yeah, he might be a champion. He might be this, but I want to see him versus this guy first. I want to see him versus that guy first to really prove to me that he can be a champion. Not just he beats some unranked contender and it's like, oh, he'll be champion. He beat somebody in the top 15. Oh, he'll be a champion. Let's hold our horses. Things change. Top 5, we know this as fighters, as fans, sorry, not as fighters, as fans, we know this, that the top 5 of any division is so different than the top 15. It's a massive skill gap a lot of the times, and we have to wait till Shavkat fights a guy in the top 5 or in that top 3 to show that he can hang with the best at welterweight. So let's hold our horses. He's good. He's a great fighter, a lot of potential, but let's not meat ride him too soon. So those are my top 3. Now, not top 3, it's my part 2, but these are my guys who I think are now getting a bit overrated now since my last video that I've made. Again, these guys are not bad fighters. They're all ranked at some point. So I'm not saying that they're terrible fighters, but let's not overrate them so much. Let's not, you know, meat ride these guys to the point of oblivion saying they're going to beat McGregor or they're going to beat Hamza. Let's be realistic with our approach to these guys. Let's be honest with ourselves and not just be so emotional when it comes to picking guys we want to win or being fans of who we want to win. Let's be honest here. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching this video up to this point. I surely do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and that bell icon for notifications. I appreciate that as well. But I'm out of here. I'll see y'all. Peace.